Welcome back. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell, and leave a like. Enjoy the video. Imagine a farmer named Jose. Upon arriving at the airport to purchase his private jet, he is treated rudely and prejudicially by the employees and other customers. When Jose arrives, the salesperson judges him by his appearance, assuming that someone who looked like him couldn't possibly afford such an expensive jet. The salesperson had expected a more elegant and well-dressed buyer, not a simple farmer. Nevertheless, Jose pushes past their assumptions and shows genuine interest in the plane. While Jose continues evaluating the jet with interest, the salesperson grows impatient. "Well, if you're not interested, I'll have to leave," says the salesperson. Jose is shocked by this act of disrespect and feels the need to explain. "Actually, I really am interested in buying," he says. The hostility of the salesperson towards Jose only grows upon realizing that the farmer is indeed interested. Other customers also start judging Jose, making loud remarks for him to hear. "He doesn't look like someone who can buy this. He must be lost." Cruel glances start to focus on Jose, making him feel exposed and uncomfortable. Even though buying the jet was his dream, he begins to question whether it's worth the humiliation. Still, he refuses to back down and decides to continue. A short while later, he is surprised by a tap on his shoulder. Startled, Jose quickly turns around, holding his head high as if ready for an attack. Instead, he finds a smiling old friend standing beside him, wearing a striped shirt and pants with a slightly out-of-shape belly. "Well, if it isn't my old friend Jose." "What are you doing here?" says the man jokingly, breaking the ice. The two men talk like old friends, though Jose is still uneasy from the judgmental stares around him. The conversation brings him some comfort. "Are you here to buy a plane, Jose?" his old friend asks. Jose hesitates but eventually replies, "I was thinking about it, yes, but I don't feel like I fit in with the people here, if you know what I mean." "Ah, don't mind these rich snobs. They don't know anything," the friend says, and the two laugh. Despite the humor, Jose can't escape the constant side glances and whispering from others who are clearly mocking him. "It doesn't look like he's here to buy a jet, Abe." "Maybe he just came to take a picture," someone says. Jose notices that the men are preparing to photograph him, obviously not to capture a memory but to mock him. Their taunts grow bolder, and Jose feels increasingly uneasy, his heart racing. He begins to follow his old friend towards the exit, but a loud, authoritative voice stops him in his tracks. "Hey, you there! The farmer who's here to buy a jet!" shouted one of the men, loud enough to draw everyone's attention. "Do you think anyone's going to take you seriously dressed like that? That dirty hat? You should go back to your farm." Everyone in the airport is now staring, including the salesperson. Jose stops and turns slowly towards the group, his heart pounding even harder. Though inexperienced with confrontation, he feels a surge of pride and determination welling up inside him. "I'm buying a plane for myself, not to impress anyone," Jose says loudly, his voice confident. The men laugh mockingly. "No matter what you do, you'll never be one of us. Look at yourself. Your clothes are stained, and your boots are dirty. You don't even look like a decent person." Jose repeats their words sarcastically, raising the corner of his mouth in a sardonic smile. "I am more than decent. I'm someone with the courage to chase his dreams, even if it means going against the grain," he retorts. The men laugh again. "Oh, you must be dreaming. Let's count how many years it'll take you to save enough money. It'll take more than a lifetime, and even if you somehow manage to buy a jet, who's going to fly it for you? You're just a nobody. Go back to your farm and stick to what you're good at." As the laughter echoed around him, Jose felt his anger rise. He tried to contain it, but his pride and determination grew stronger. He stood tall and looked directly at the man who had spoken. "I'm not dreaming, and I have proof," he said confidently. Silence fell over the group as everyone awaited Jose's next move. His expression was resolute, his stance defiant. Jose then produced a check that matched the exact price of the jet. "You say I can't buy a jet?" he asked, locking eyes with the men. The group was stunned. Some of them averted their gazes, and the disdain on their faces quickly turned to shock and embarrassment. I think we should leave," one of them stammered, avoiding Jose's gaze. "We don't want any trouble." But Jose wasn't about to let the matter drop. "What's this?" Jose raised his voice, commanding silence. "I want my son to know what you've done." He pulled out his phone and called his son, who was a lawyer. You need to get here right now. There are several men discriminating against me, including the salesperson, Jose said, his voice filled with anger. In less than an hour, Jose received a call back. I've arrived, said his son firmly. The airport door swung open with force, and everyone turned to look. Jose's son walked in. A dark-skinned man impeccably dressed in a sharp suit. His appearance a stark contrast to how the men at the airport had treated his father. "Dad, are you okay?" his son asked. Jose nodded. "Yes, I'm fine." The men at the airport now looked at Jose's son with unease. "You'll pay for what you've done to my father," the lawyer said, his voice unwavering. "I'm here to make things right." He moved through the group, demanding information from each of them. "I'll sue every one of you and the company you work for discrimination." Jose and his son left the airport, walking back to their car. The judgmental stares of the men followed them until they were out of sight. "I'm so proud of you," Jose said, placing a hand on his son's shoulder. The case was taken to court, and a mediation hearing was scheduled to discuss the situation. Jose's lawyers prepared to present their case, showcasing how he had been discriminated against and humiliated in the courtroom. Jose and his son made their case eloquently and powerfully, backed by witnesses and documents proving the discrimination Jose had faced. The judge, after hearing both sides, seemed irritated by the situation. "From what I've seen, it's evident that Jose was treated unfairly. A person's appearance should never be grounds for discrimination. That's clear." However, the judge hesitated. "But I cannot ignore the fact that the employees involved also have their side of the story. There are always two sides to every story." Jose's lawyer interrupted indignantly. "With all due respect, Your Honor, my client is a hard-working and deserving individual." The judge raised a hand to silence him. "You're right. Jose has every right to feel indignation and to fight for his rights." Jose smiled timidly, feeling the courtroom sway in his favor. But the judge's next words were unexpected. "However," the judge continued, "I must also consider the company involved. They have a reputation to maintain, a brand to preserve." The room went silent, tension thick in the air. "I believe," the judge said, "that instead of simply condemning the company, Jose and the company should work together to find a solution. If the company acknowledges its error and changes its attitude, I may consider reducing the penalty." One of Jose's lawyers stood up, outraged. "We cannot accept this proposal. The company committed a serious violation against Jose and must be held accountable." Quote. Another lawyer joined in. "Jose was humiliated by this company and its employees. We won't let this go without repercussions." The judge, though irritated by the lawyer's fervor, agreed with them. "If that's how you want to proceed, then we'll start the trial," the judge declared coldly. "But remember, if you don't have solid evidence, you could lose everything." Thus, the trial began. Jose watched with both interest and apprehension as his lawyers built a compelling and strong case, highlighting the discrimination and humiliation he had endured. The company's lawyers tried to deflect the accusations, but Jose and his team were diligent and competent. The trial intensified as both sides fought desperately to prove their points. Jose remained optimistic but nervous. While the evidence seemed to favor him, the judge's stance was not yet clear. As they awaited the verdict, the courtroom doors opened, and a familiar face entered. "Who wants to testify?" the judge asked, visibly perplexed. The new witness was a mysterious woman, a staff member from the airport who had offered to testify. "Well, it seems we have another witness," the judge said. "If you have relevant recordings, we'll accept them as evidence." Patricia, the witness, stepped forward with a determined look. "I heard everything," she said loudly, "and I recorded it all. Of course they tried to stop me, but I wouldn't let them treat Jose this way." The judge was taken aback by the new developments. Patricia connected her phone to the courtroom system and began playing the recordings. The room fell silent as the audio of mocking and derision echoed throughout the jury. When the recordings ended, the judge was visibly stunned. Gathering his papers, he took a moment to process what he had just witnessed. In light of the evidence presented, this court finds that Jose was indeed discriminated against and humiliated by this company, the judge declared, lowering his glasses to stare at the company's lawyers. "They have much to learn about respect," the judge continued. "Therefore, the court orders the company to pay a substantial fine and to conduct sensitivity training for all employees." The sound of the gasp echoed through the courtroom. Jose felt victorious as he left the courtroom with a smile, his lawyers already planning to use the fine as an investment fund for him to buy an even better jet than before. Jose returned to the airport with a large check, walking confidently with his head held high. The airport employees who had once mocked him now looked at him with embarrassment and disappointment. Stopping, Jose turned to face the staff who had humiliated him. "Still think I'm a nobody?" Turning back, he declared loudly, "I'm going to buy my jet, but not from you. I'm going to your competitor. They deserve my money, not you." Jose walked to the competitor's store, purchasing the best jet he could afford. As he boarded his new jet, the staff from the other store could only watch in regret. Jose flew home in his new plane, cheerful and confident as never before. His wife and children welcomed him with open arms as they gathered to celebrate. Jose looked at his new jet with pride, reflecting on the valuable lessons he had learned through this experience. Here on Karma's Twists, we share the most impactful stories of karma and justice that the world needs to see. Don't miss a single moment of good triumphing over evil. Join our community and subscribe. Be part of the movement that believes justice always wins.